Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.
This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Waiver Wire Week 4 Free Agents. I'm Coach Lewis on the other end. Doc Mendelson. We're here to help you with your fantasy basketball lineups, as well as talk a little highlights, a little lowlights on our players, some basketball love. But yeah, we trying to set you up to win a championship, or at least put you in the best contention. Doc on the other end, and we started college basketball last week. Those college basketball players you typically filter in the NBA, although there's a lot of different avenues. Anybody catch your eye? You're like, I'm gonna cue this guy up to draft next year.
Not yet. It's a little early for that, but I was aware of college basketball started because the sports book's offering you promos. So, that's how you get the gamblers' attention. And, once we get closer to March, that's when I really dive in, once football season's over. It's too early to start doing that. So much can change in the season.
If you didn't know, Doc is big in on, the first basket of an NBA game. He likes the season long bets, but he also likes the weird prop
first basket and who wins the tip off. Don't forget that. I need the instant gratification.
Yeah, it's Wemby every time.
It is not Wemby. Lost to Mitchell Robinson on Wednesday.
Wow. Go figure. The one person that can probably beat him in the whole league. That was a dead giveaway in Pirtle this week. I'm a Pirtle player every day. And Mitchell Robinson's facial hair definitely gave that away. As far as college basketball takeaways to me, I'm a big fan of this Stephon Castle for the reigning UConn Huskies champ. He's a freshman point guard, 6'6". He can dime. I think that he should go higher than whatever people are talking about. Jacoby Walter came out firing for Baylor. He's somebody I got my eye on. As you know, I do a little mock draft on the side. I talk about those things, but you're here for fantasy basketball. And this week, teams with two, teams to watch. Every team in the NBA has 3 or 4 games this week, except for the Rockets, the Pacers, and the Clippers. What I find interesting here is I think the Clippers already had a week where they had 2, because when they had Harden, seemed like they had a whole week to prep him up and get him going. He missed that one game against the Lakers. They are winless with him. That's a big problem. And then, guys like Dillon Brooks, you can cut ties with him. Dillon Brooks is what we thought he was. Low percentage shooter. He can score sometimes and get our heater, but dude, he's a streamable.
So he's a streamer.
Yes,
he's a streamer.
He's easy to get rid of, even in a Rockets uniform. Which is striking that the Rockets right now are doing better than his former team, the Grizzlies. I don't think it's because it's a Dillon problem, but we're talking Detroit basketball. Guards are people that we're talking about right now. Killian Hayes, Marcus Sasser right now are getting extended playing time with Jaden Ivey's been having an illness, even though Jaden Ivey's been basically averaging 20 minutes per game. Monty Williams is clearly going with Killian a little bit higher. In the categories league, 12 points, 3 boards, 5 assists on a season, shooting a good percentage for himself. He's known to get some swipes. Yes, he can't throw it in the ocean from deep. He's not a good three-point shooter, which I don't think he's a good compliment to Cade. On the other end, the rookie Marcus Sasser that they traded up to go get can hit threes pretty well. And in his recent contest, 26 points, 22 points. He's shown that he can fill it up a little bit. What do you like about the guards out there in Detroit?
Well, I guess you didn't look at Marcus Sasser's game yesterday where he shot 3 of 13, 1 of 7 from the field. That puts a little bit of a damper on it. I mean, I think if you're going to get one, you're going to get Killian Hayes for the fact that he's eligible at 2 positions, for the fact that he's playing more minutes than Marcus Sasser. Killian Hayes averaging 31 on the season. Marcus Sasser averaging 21. I think Killian Hayes does complement Cade Cunningham a little bit better, and especially in the categories league. I mean, you're looking at 5 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 6 to 7 assists per game. I mean, obviously he is not hitting threes, but he's averaging 1.4 steals for the season. And I mean, James, this is his 4th season with the team. Like, we talk about young teams like Detroit, and, you know, sometimes they've have funneled in projects. They've brought in James Wiseman. They've brought in Marvin Bagley. They have veterans like Alec Burks. Killian Hayes might be one of the longest tenured guys on the team, and I think that does count for something moving forward. You know, Detroit, I know, has lost 7 in a row, but I don't think they're punting on the season yet. I think, you know, they're trying to see what lineups work, and I think Killian Hayes has been probably one of the few bright spots.
I do not think that he works in the long term. And I think a lot of the players that Detroit has right now, it's like too much of a good thing is a bad thing. And you have too many players that can't shoot around a guy like Cade Cunningham, maybe trying to pump up their value so that you can move them. Even Asar Thompson, who's been one of the best rookies that we've seen, and he's a lock. He's a great player going forward. He can't shoot either. We got to surround Cade Cunningham with some shooters because of his playmaking ability. And I think that Killian Hayes is one grouping with Jaden Ivey. It's just too many. Like, you got to make moves, package them, try to send them in a different area.
So let me ask you,
if I'm a team like Washington, I'll take a Jaden Ivey.
If Killian Hayes was their backup point guard, permanent backup point guard, or like long-term backup point guard, do you think that would work?
I mean, there's not a problem there. I mean, he definitely does defend. I mean,
yeah,
he's chills there, but clearly they like Marcus Sasser. They traded up to go get him. Like, so, and then Monty Williams clearly has a thing against Ivy. I don't know. It's just, I mean, Detroit is so young that it's not a problem that they're, you know, losing, but, you know, going forward, these are things to watch. Ivy should
there is
come
a big
back
log
soon.
jam. There is a big log jam there.
Ivy comes back soon. Bogdanovich comes back, you know, whenever.
They should have traded Bogdanovich, man.
Yeah. You might be right there. But I don't know. For some reason, they just really like him. Deni Avdija for the Washington Wizards right now on a season. He's giving you 13 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 53% from the field, 1 3, 1 steal. Categories league, you know, that's a solid ratio to keep with. I mean, yeah, he's going to be one of the bottom 2 players probably on your bench. You wouldn't feel just absolutely horrible keeping him there or cutting ties, but like right now, you know, 13, 5, and 4 with the steal and 3, like categories, that's a keepable player. And then, as we know, the Wizards, to me, are the worst team in basketball. I mean, I know that they probably, I think they have 3 wins, but they're not going anywhere. It's kind of hard to watch as, you know, a DC fan growing up to see the style of basketball they're playing with, and Jordan Poole just does whatever the hell he wants to. Kuzma's going off. You got him, you know, good for you. Yeah. But Deni Avdija, what's your take, Doc?
Well, so he got paid in the offseason, I think 4-year, $55 million extension, which, and we were talking pre-show, he's probably one of the best Wizards draft picks in recent memory, which is saying something. I mean, Deni Avdija, I like what we're seeing in terms of the counting stats increasing. His points going from 9.2 to 12.8, shooting 53.2% from the field, which is more than 10% up from last season. 42.9% from 3. Coach, he shot 29.7% last year. He was always a guy that we were talking to that you could stream in a categories league because he was giving you 5-ish rebounds, 2 to 3 assists per game, you know, 1.5 stocks. But the fact that he's scoring a little bit more, you know, I think Jordan Poole has been one of the biggest disappointments in fantasy. Obviously, he isn't scoring, but he's not even shooting as much as I think a lot of us anticipated he would. And, you know, the fact that Deni is small forward, power forward eligible, I think he's a little bit more than a streamer, but he's somebody that is like that first or second one to cut if he starts performing bad or if there's the hot pickup that you need to get, you know, a la Cam Thomas from last year.
Yeah, Cam Thomas is like kind of what I guess we were kind of looking for what the production that Poole was supposed to go upper 20s. And I know Cam Thomas is averaging like 29 points a game right now, but average is 17 is a super duper disappointment. And I know there are a lot of people that like reach for him because they were expecting that big jump in production, but it's right now it's going to Kyle Kuzma, which, you know, it's deservingly so because he's a better player.
Jordan Poole's scoring prop for the season was 24 points per game. Like, that's what the books had him at. It's not even just the fantasy basketball community. Vegas thought that he was going to be a high volume scorer as well.
And I think he can reach there. Our next guy, rookie sensation of that champion UConn Husky team, Jordan Hawkins, one of the best pure shooters of the basketball movement shooters that I've seen in recent memory. Also had the pleasure to coach against this kid once upon a time when he was a sophomore at Gaithersburg High School.
I was waiting for that.
When I was coaching at Richard Montgomery, and this is Montgomery County Public Schools in the DMV area. And then I'm looking around. It's kind of beautiful. I mean, this is kind of like a personal thing, but like the players that play for that Richard Montgomery team that I was coaching, Ryan Cornish plays for Dartmouth. Olivier Comqua is at Michigan, transferring over from Tennessee. Cordell Lewis is playing for my alma mater, Towson University. Darren Alexander's playing for St. Mary's College. He had a 45-piece last year. And then Zaire Mitchell-Patton is playing for the Browns. So like you can go to public school, people, and make it. Jordan Hawkins, why do I like him? Because he shoots the hell out of the ball. And they give him free range on shooting. And right now he's getting the bulk of the minutes with CJ McCollum out. They're trusting him. They're starting him. He's going to get you threes and buckets. It's going to be hit or miss. He's not going to get you many other categories. But 42% roster. He's definitely a streamable guy for threes. And we'll see how long CJ McCollum's out. And I know that's going to be kind of an extensive injury. And we, send our prayers to him and his family, as this is now the second time he's had this collapsed lung situation. Dyson Daniels is a little bit more versatile, especially in categories leagues, and we're trying to see him get a little bit of bump in playing time. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. He's had games where he's had high rebounds, assists, steals. What do you think about this New Orleans Pelicans situation?
So it's interesting because I don't think you can go wrong with either. So over the last week, Jordan Hawkins averaging 36.5 minutes per game, Dyson Daniels averaging 31. So they're both getting opportunities there. Now, what I think is interesting, Jordan Hawkins last season at UConn averaging 16 points per game. And like you said, he's going to shoot the heck out of the ball. He's actually been giving you a little bit of rebounds. 2 out of the last 3 games, he's cleared 7 rebounds. He's not giving you much else. He ain't passing the ball. He has 5 assists in those last 3 games. So I think he's going to have the higher ceiling, but I think Dyson Daniels is more valuable in a categories league. He got a double-double last game, 10 points, 10 rebounds, but he passes the ball a little bit more. He's good for about 1.3 steals per game. So I think it's really depending on what you need. Like I think Hawkins is going to give you the higher upside and probably more the points league guy, but Dyson Daniels is going to have a good floor. I don't think you're going to see many duds from him just because he contributes in so many ways.
Yeah, and then shout out Jayhawk in the last 4 games. He had 3 3-pointers, 7 3-pointers on the heater against Denver, and then Atlanta he had 4 the game before. So that just shows you the value of being able to shoot the 3.
I will say he cannot play defense without fouling. Fouled out last game in 41 minutes, which I get. That's almost the entire game. Game before that, 30 minutes against the Wolves, picked up 5 fouls.
He's getting picked on. He has very slight frame, so like I can understand the other coaches going straight at him.
He's 6'5", 190. He's 6'5", 190. They're switching on and trying to attack him.
But I think he's here in the league for a long time to come because of his shooting ability. And right now, it's just not just a high percentage. He's shooting 38% on the year, but you've seen in the last week is gone up to 44, and he shoots mostly threes. So from one guy that's increasing his shooting percentage to another, Kyle Lowry, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn this whole season, but recently 4 threes in the last 2 contests. That makes him all of a sudden 10-team. You gotta grab him up for the time being. He's playing heavy minutes. It looks like he's definitely declining in his career, but he's somebody that has high-end rebounds and assists for the point guard position. He can hit threes. In the categories lead, he's a guy that I picked up this week. I know he played on a Saturday, Sunday was convenient. I won't feel bad about cutting him next week, but at the same time, he's been a great stream, and he might ultimately win me the assist category this week.
I mean, Tyler Hero's out multiple weeks with an ankle sprain. So, like, just from an opportunity and Miami didn't add people this offseason. So they're rolling with pretty much the same roster they had last year. It's no secret that they wanted to ship out Duncan Robinson. I mean, against the Grizzlies on November 8th, Kyle Lowry was 1 assist away from a triple-double. Like, James, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's going to contribute in multiple categories. For his career, he's averaging close to 5 rebounds per game, 6.5 assists, 1.5 steals. Like, he's going to do it. He's a savvy veteran at 37. I think last year, a lot of us thought that he was on the demise. And, you know, he's shown us now that he's just a good basketball player that when needed, he can produce.
And he's getting his steal in every game except for one.
Yeah.
His lowest minute per game was a 26, and every other game he's been in the 30. So, you know, consistency there with him not being hurt. At the end of the day, like it is a safe pick.
I will say he's not shooting. There's one game this season with double-digit shot attempts.
That is true. He's not shooting. He's got a game where his first game of the season, he played 32 minutes, shot one attempt. He's got a game with 4 attempts, 5 attempts, 6 attempts. So he's not going to fill you up with the points. That's why we look more so as a categories league, but he's not hurting you if he's on the bottom of your roster. Bismack Biyombo right now, signed from the street. The Grizzlies is just getting beat down and battered next to the rim with Steven Adams going out for the season. They finally bolstered their front court with a big guy like Bismack Biyombo. And in the past, he's been a streamable guy to get rebounds. He's been doing that in the games that he has played. And, you know, Jaren Jackson Jr. has proven that playing him at the 5 outside of maybe finishing some games is not a formula that should work. He should be roaming. He should be out there playing the power forward position. That's the best suited position for him, for his team to be successful and himself. Right now, Bismack Biyombo is eating on the rebounds.
He does this every year, and he changes teams that he does this for. Like last year, he was doing this for Phoenix. Before, he was doing this with Charlotte. Like, he's just somebody that you know at some point you're going to add because he's going to have opportunity and he's going to produce. And next season, it'll probably be he does this for like the Kings or something.
Yeah.
Wait, Coach, back to Kyle Lowry. Guess what percentage of his shots this season have been 3-pointers?
70.
74%. That's crazy. 74% of the shots that he's taken have been threes. He shot 54 attempts, and 40 of them have been threes. That's wild.
So it's encouraging that right now he made 4 in the last 2 games. It shows that like he's starting to heat up a little bit, get his confidence going on that angle. But the Kyle Lowry that's driving to the lane and finishing around the basket, those days are over. Lonnie Walker IV. His IV is getting buckets. That is what is put in him. And, for Brooklyn this year, he's done just that. 17 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. This is on the season, shooting 54%, 2 threes. He's good to get you 20 and not too much else in categories. He's a good stream. He's a good player to have and let go. Doc, what do you say?
It's interesting. We haven't seen a huge uptick in minutes since Cam Thomas got hurt. Now, it has increased a little bit from about 15 to 17 to, mid-20s. So I guess that's what you're looking for. But 20 points in 20 minutes, 21 points in 28 minutes, 19 points in 23 minutes. He's been super effective just with the time that he's been on the floor. Cam Thomas out at least a couple of weeks. So I think that's somebody that you add. And like you said, from a points league, great. Not going to contribute much else. 7 rebounds last game. That was a season high for him. 4 assists. That's a season high. But someone that's not super. He's 1.2 stocks per game. But, the thing about Brooklyn, I just don't feel like there's chemistry on the team. Nick Claxton is going to come back. We don't know how that's going to alter lineups. I've been liking Trendon Watford as a streamer, but
it's going to affect him. Clearly, it's gonna affect, to me, Royce O'Neal and DFS too a little bit. They're probably not going to be playing 38 minutes, what they kind of have been playing. Claxton is in the fold and really might affect Ben Simmons as well, because you don't want to go out there and run with 2 non-shooters. So
Ben Simmons has been out too. That's what Brooklyn has had so many injuries. Like we don't really know what to. They've been playing Day'Ron Sharpe a lot at center. Dennis Smith Jr. has been coming off the bench, playing 25, 27 minutes a game.
They're just not that good. And then again, another thing is like too much of one thing is a bad thing. They have defensive-minded players that shoot low percentages. And at the end of the day, that's just not going to work in today's game of basketball. And maybe packaging those older guys to send them to like maybe some winning teams that really need a plug. Maybe it's Philly with Oubre going out. Maybe that they can get some type of assets that they earn from the Harden trade, and they can make a little move here. Maybe package like 2 second-round picks to get like a DFS. Maybe. I
mean, just look at this log jam at like shooting guard, small forwards that shoot. DFS, Royce O'Neal, he's power forward. Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, like Lonnie Walker, Dennis Smith Jr. That's just a bunch of Jags,
Yeah,
a lot of ISO guys.
Doesn't seem like the cohesion for a winning formula. But they do have Miles Bridges to build on going forward. Maybe hopefully strike some luck in the draft. But yeah, getting rid of some of these old guys that aren't gonna help you out really. Nick Richards. One reason why fantasy owners like a guy like Nick Richardson, because he's gonna get you rebounds and he's gonna get you blocks. And more so recently. And yeah, we know Mark Williams out there going 20-20, catching lobs, but when he's off the court, insert Nick Richards, and he does similar things. He's definitely a streamable guy if I'm trying to get rebounds and blocks. Maybe not a hard term hold, but he's chills if he's on.
Don't stream him for threes, steals, or assists.
80% from the field. Like you can't argue with that. Like he does one thing and he dunks the ball.
We were talking about that we want to give people nicknames, and the irony that I want to call him Little Nicky Richards, but he's 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan. And if he ever heard me call him that, he could kill me if he wanted to. Yeah. So I might say it for this show. I'll call him Little Nicky Richards, but it's ironic, and I would never say it to his face.
A Big Richard is what never mind, call him. We'll move on. Skylar Mays getting some opportunity for Portland. I really liked his game for LSU back in the day, and I didn't know that like an NBA career would ever pan out, but it sounds like, man, he's got some flashes for NBA potential. In the last week, we know Simons is out. He's getting a little bit more bumps. Scooter Henderson as well, fighting some injuries. 12.5 points per game, 6.5 assists, 2 steals. We'll take that and feel bad when everybody comes back and get rid of him.
James, look at this. He's playing 11, 8, 15, 16. Scoot is ruled out, jumps to 37 minutes. Now, I know that was an overtime game against the Kings, but that's a big increase in minutes. Shot 15 attempts from the field, 11 assists, 2 steals.
Assists.
I think one of the things that I look for in guys for fantasy is they just got paid because teams feel more obligated to play them. And then guys that maybe weren't supposed to be on the team. He was the 50th pick in the 2020 draft. Like, he is fighting for a spot. He is fighting for his career. You don't think he's going to give it on the floor every night? 2 steals in the last game. He's going to make the most of the minutes he has now. And that's the type of guy that I'm looking to stream, or is a little bit more under the radar. 15%. He's still available in 85% of leagues.
Yeah, and so, since an hour ago when we made that graphic, he's already up to 18%. And you want to be ahead of the curve when we're talking about players. And last game he played 37 minutes. Before that, he played 16 and 15 minutes. So he's definitely getting some confidence in the coaching staff. And Chauncey Billups is looking at Skylar Mays as somebody that he's going to play right now, and it's worth a gamble. Especially at the beginning of the week when you see a guy go from 16 to 30, you definitely don't want to be behind the 8 ball and somebody that has some high potential. And maybe it's Skylar Mays.
Skylar Mays.
Who probably should have some point guard eligibility. We'll see. How those things kind of change a little bit. Now, Coby White.
At least he's in the Yahoo player pool.
Yeah.
Little shots at ESPN.
Unlike the starting point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies right now, Gilliard, who's not there. Which platforms definitely help determine like who you're picking up. Some of them are like a little bit more user friendly. I'm more of a fan of the Yahoo than the ESPN, especially the button you can press to, set your lineups for the week. Like that's such an advantage that can make, maybe the more not hardcore basketball fan join the league. It's like, if I just got to press this button once, like maybe I will join more more leagues, and us putting out.
ESPN is trash, is what we're trying to say. It's trash. That's fine.
Doc's sometimes a little bit more cutthroat than me, and he's speaking the truth.
I mean, there's a reason why. Just from a micro to a macro level, Disney owns ESPN, and there is a reason why they have tried to cut that from their company for years. It's dragging down their stock price. There's just controversy associated with it. People are leaving. ESPN is not what it used to be, and that's my rant for the day.
And that's why we use our percentage roster from Yahoo. Like that's something that we've mentioned before in past shows, and we mention it. Sometimes we don't, but that's where we get our roster percentage because it's a little bit more accurate for the everyday league as opposed to ESPN, which will tell me that, and like at the beginning of the year, Gordon Hayward's 13% roster, and it's like that's kind of ridiculous. Also, we can see like the ads made in Yahoo. Like you can filter your free agency. It's like, okay, Skylar Mays right now, he's got 9,694 ads within the last week, and Bismack Biyombo second. Like these are a lot of the players that we're talking about on the show, and that shows like the active owner in fantasy basketball, and it helps you filter and make your decisions at a little bit quicker rate. So we do appreciate that from Yahoo. Coby White, somebody we featured on our first show, he started shooting better recently, and that is why he's one of our our safer league round picks for this year. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists within the last week. He's given you 15 points, 5 boards, 6.5 assists, 2 steals, 2.5 threes. So based on last week, and we know he's the starting point guard, he's getting that opportunity. Coby White is a safe pick.
I mean, I was just saying too, like the Bulls are tanking. They're making some change, like DeRozan, Levine, or Vucevic.
Will they do it though? Will they finally do it? They're like the big alert. Do it. Pack it in, man. Get whatever you can for these players before Levine gets hurt again.
Well, DeRozan
is playing a high level.
DeRozan's a free agent after the season, so you have to think unless the Bulls are, and to be fair, the Bulls front office is awful. Garpax is literally bottom tier management level.
The worst of the worst.
But you gotta think too, like from this point in the season, like they have a players only meeting after the first game, like that it's just incompetence at a certain level, and you hope that cooler minds prevail and they make a trade if they're 10 games under 500 nearing towards the trade deadline. So Coby White is somebody you should roster now, but like he's somebody that if somebody else has, that could be a buy low candidate because one of those guys are gone and his usage goes up.
Speaking of somebody's usage is going up a little bit in the last week, this is 6% roster. This is for your deep pool. This is your 14, 16 team league. Derrick Jones Jr. is hitting 2 threes a game, a block and a steal. That's solid at that range. And it's somebody to monitor and watch with Dallas just having fluidity at some of their positions, and they're playing some damn good ball. Luka Doncic versus the Clippers, though, he's Super Saiyan. He's Super Saiyan Luka versus the Clippers, and I love it. It's you have to tune in because clearly Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, known as some of the best 3-and-D, just two-way players in the league in the last, in the last generation, to be honest. And he just dices them up no matter what they do. And he's shooting from deep. He's putting the back to the basket. He's Euro stepping as slow as they get, creating room. Like he's picking his matchups. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And Luka is must-see TV.
James, what's interesting? Look at Derrick Jones Jr. Tell me that's not some of the longest arms he got. So Derrick Jones is 6'6". Guess what his wingspan is?
6'11 and a half.
7 foot. I mean, I'll give you that and round up. I mean, so if you actually watch him, he's a great defender. He plays with his arms out. I love it when he makes a three. He always holds it up and then has his hand. Like, he's just a long dude there. So it's interesting. We're talking about Derrick Lively. We talked about Grant Williams. We're talking about Derrick Jones Jr. this show. Like, Luka and Kyrie, I think, are the only ones that are going to have guaranteed spots and usage. And granted, like, they are 2 high usage players, but it seems like Dallas is going to play whoever is kind of the hot man there. So,
and don't let it go of Derrick Lively. In my opinion, I know he's got games where he's not playing as much, but I think that if you stay safe with him, you keep him around, it might be beneficial to you towards the end of the season because he's a high rebound guy and his blocks ceiling is high, and we see this with rookies where it comes back and forth, but they just really don't have another option there at the 5 of the skills and ability that he does.
Agreed. And I'm going to take an L on Grant Williams because, my God, did he have an awful week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and he's a guy that you feel good about streaming because he's going to get a lot of minutes. He doesn't have a high ceiling, but
I mean,
typically a safe floor. But I knew that there was shooting slumps that happened, and it was bound to happen with him.
I mean, it's not even shooting slumps. He took 2 shots last game. He just doesn't want to be aggressive.
Well, as long as they're winning, I mean, I think that's all he personally cares about. We are here to try to help you win your fantasy league. So that's where we stand. We hope you enjoyed. Hit a like, a sub. Please. We'll be back here next week. We've been doing it for 3 years, and we're going to continue on.
James, you know what I'm going to do? I brought a basketball. You ever watch Around the Horn where Tony Reali throws the paper ball at the end?
Of course.
I'm going to do an over-the-head shot, and one of these weeks I'm going to hit it. And maybe I'll start out 1 for 1. So let's see how it goes. Let's do a little over the glance. Nope. But I'll make it next week, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be at show 1,000 when that actually happens. But anyways, I'm Coach Lewis. On the other end, Doc. Great chopping it up with you. Until next time, peace.
Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.